Welcome to the Women's History Virtual Speaker Series in partnership with the Black Speakers Network and Speak Black Woman. My name is Quinn Conyers, and I train Black women in business how to profit from public speaking so they can maximize and monetize every speaking opportunity on behalf of their business, their book, or their brand. Now, I'm really excited about this speaker series because it's March, and you know what that means. It's Women's History Month, and I am so excited to highlight, illuminate, and amplify so many awesome and amazing women making history with their voice. So here's what you can expect. We are going to talk about the importance, the achievement of many women who are doing great things in their business, their career, and their community. You're going to hear about topics in regards to equity, equality, diversity, entrepreneurship, financial leadership, and so much more. Now, we want to make sure that when you are tuning into this speaker series, that you're not just a spectator. We want you to be active and involved. So if there is a speaker that really touches you, motivates you, inspires you, or empowers you, make sure you comment in the chat and let us know your biggest aha moment or the biggest nugget that you have gotten from that speaker. So if you are a woman who is currently making history, desires to make history, this speaker series has your name written all over it. So enjoy this Women's History Virtual Speaker Series. On behalf of the Speak Black Woman group and movement and the Black Speakers Network, we are excited. We are eager, but more importantly, we are happy that you are here, and we look forward to super serving you over the next couple of days with this awesome and amazing speaker series. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Paula R. Jenkins, and I am the founder and CEO of LFS Consulting LLC, where we help leaders strengthen their teams one conversation at a time. So today I want to talk about self-care. How do we set clear priorities in a world of unknowns? A lot of times we recognize that being busy, we're getting something done. But leaders understand that activity doesn't necessarily mean that's an accomplishment. I want to take a moment and think about the last 45 days. How busy have you been? What have you gotten done? Think about that. How productive have you been? See, what happens is we tend to think that we have all this time, and the busier we are, the more productive we are. We think that all the priorities that need to get done, get done. But the reality is they don't. And so part of what we have to do is really think about what our real priorities are. And I know sometimes it's extremely hard for those who own businesses, those who are leading teams. You know, there's a lot to get done. But the reality is we have to make sure that we are looking at our time, we're looking at our priorities in the right way. One of the things that I recognize is for a lot of us, we put everybody else first before ourselves. The number one priority should always be yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. And again, that is anybody, whether you are leading a business, leading a team, leading families, whatever the case may be, you have to take care of yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. And I know sometimes it's very hard, and we think about the demands that we have, we think about the deadlines that we have, the difficulties of life. But again, if you're not good, none of it matters. And I think a lot of us have learned this over the last few years, and I know I've learned it even prior to the pandemic, about not taking care of myself and making sure that everything else is okay and having the superwoman cape on. And too often what we do is we find ourselves failing and the body failing because we didn't do that. We didn't take care of ourselves. We didn't prioritize ourselves. It is critical that we do so. So how do you do that? How do you make sure that, okay, I hear you, but what do we do? So a lot of times I know we probably have heard of different priority principles, and we've maybe have seen the box where we talk about what is important, what is urgent, what's not urgent. Here's the thing. Too often what happens is we prioritize all the urgent things in our life because we didn't take care of something. And the reality is we've got to stop doing that. We really have to make sure that we are focused on the important things in our life. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't deal with or work on or prioritize unimportant things, but we've gotten so caught up in so many things that instead we are constantly going and going and going, And all we focus on is the urgent, the things that have to get done, the things that have been put off, the things that just absolutely have to be done right now. What I want you to do is really think about, okay, how do I move to a space of just the important things that are important to you? We all have them, whether that is your job, your family, your team, yourself, your family, your friends, rest, whatever that may be. But let's focus on just what is important, not the urgent or the non-important things that take up our time. And then we look back and say, why did I spend so much time on that? The other thing when we talk about prioritizing ourselves is we have to make sure that we find what makes us good. We have to take the time to do so. A lot of times people will say, well, I don't have the time. I need you to make the time. Make the time. So how do you do that? You know, a lot of times I know, and I'm guilty of it as well. We look at our calendar, we talk about how packed it is. And in some cases, it almost like it's pride. Oh my gosh, my calendar is so packed. But does your calendar have time for you? Does your calendar have space for you? You know, I was once told, let's make sure that 20% of your calendar is white space. It's white space. What that simply means is make sure you have actually put in your calendar and scheduled time for nothing. Nothing. Make sure that whatever time that you have on your calendar, you prioritize yourself. See, here's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week. It truly is a world of unknowns. So part of this is we have to make sure that we set very clear priorities for ourselves and those around us. And when we do that, that's also called boundaries. Boundaries allow us to make sure that we can take care of ourselves and that we are not always focusing on the urgent. So I want you to think about that and look at your calendar today. And I want you to make sure there's space in there for you. That white space is really important. The other piece I want you to think about when you think about priorities is there's the 3 R's, and I love this. I want you to list all the things that you may have to do. And then I want you to think about, okay, what's required? What's required? And as you list all the things out, you know, put a number by it, you know, 1 to 10. What's most required for you? 1 to 10. 10 being absolutely this is required, has to get done. 1, not so much. It's unimportant. 2, I want you to think about the return on it. What's the return on it? Again, 1 to 10. 10 being it's a really high return. If it's done, 1, not so much. And then 3, the reward. Whatever this item is, what's the reward? Is the reward a 10, high reward, or is it 1, a low reward? Then I want you to take each one of those, and I want you to total up those 3. I want you to total up the required, the return, and the reward. And then the last column, it should say results. And I want you to do that for all the items you listed that are priorities right now. And then look at that list. And then I want you to say, okay, what has the highest number? Those become your priorities. Those become the high priorities. Those are the items that are important. Take the time to do this exercise. I'll tell you, it is a game changer. It will absolutely help you be clear about what your priorities are, clear about where you are, clear about how to set clear priorities in a world of unknowns. So as I wrap up, here's your reminder. Number 1, make sure you prioritize yourself no matter what. We don't know what's going to happen again tomorrow. So you got to make sure you take care of you. 2, remember to focus on the important items, not urgent, not non-important, the important items. And then finally, make sure 20% of your calendar is white space. Schedule it in, put it in, and make sure you stick to that because that's what's called boundaries. We want to make sure that we have the right boundaries for ourselves. If you don't do this, I can tell you, you will continuously be working in the rat race. And that's not what we want. I want you to make sure that you set clear priorities in this world of unknowns. I thank you for your time. If you want to get in touch with me, please follow me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can scan the code that you see on my screen and look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day. And again, make sure you set priorities for yourself. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tiffany Harvey, and I'm here to speak with you about being a Black woman officer in the military. I have been in the U.S. Navy Reserves for over 17 years, and I could truly say it has been a rewarding experience. Now, it has come at a price, and it has come with challenges. But I want all women to know who are thinking about entering the military, you're going to face some challenges, because you're entering a male-dominant field. Especially if you're a Black woman, you may have it harder. See, the color of your skin and your gender will play a role in how you are treated and how you're seen. I had to learn very early on in my career when to speak and when not to speak, when to cry and when not to cry. I had to make decisions when it came to the pain, when it was too much for me to bear, or should I just walk away? See, I graduated Officer Candidate School in 2005 from Pensacola, Florida. I was so excited when I got my first ship assignment to the USS Nashville out of Norfolk, Virginia. But when I checked on board, I realized I was only one or two female officers at the time. Now, over the next 2.5 years, I will become one of 6 female officers. But majority of the time, I was the only Black female officers. See, you got to understand that the ship, when it was designed, it was not designed for male and females to live on board together. So the only females that could be on board were officers. After 3 weeks of me checking on board, I had 2 Black male officers pull me aside. They wanted to tell me, Tiffany, get ready, because you're going to catch hell on this ship. Now, at the time, I didn't understand why. I was confused. But they both said almost the exact same thing. You're young and you're beautiful. And that there is trouble. And they were exactly right, because I did catch hell on the ship. I was made to feel at times as if I didn't deserve to wear the uniform. I was made to feel at times I didn't deserve a seat at the table. But the biggest one that almost broke me is when I got hit with fraternization charges. And I know I didn't do anything wrong. To this day, I still don't know why they accused me of fraternization. But I got through it. And I got through it because I leaned on my friends and my family and my faith. I learned I was a lot stronger than I thought I was. And I learned how to navigate the Navy and the military. And that has made me a strong officer and a strong woman. But I also learned a joy while being in the military. I learned the beauty of me wearing this uniform. And that's the mentoring to young women who are thinking about entering the military or who just joined the military. I have women come up to me all the time and say, ma'am, would you mentor me? Or they say, ma'am, how did you get to where you are today? They want to hear my story and they want my guidance. And I'm so happy to give it to them. I know one of these women that I'm mentoring and setting on the right direction will take my place one day. Also, I know one of these women that I'm mentoring will become the next captain, the next doctor, maybe the next U.S. president. The women that I talk to, I want them to understand my path, and I'm completely honest with them. I let them know my struggles. I let them know my walk has not been easy. I let them know you will be tested. The one thing I also tell them, and the best piece of advice I can give them, that they must have a healthy balance. See, the military is shaping you and grooming you to fight the mission, to accomplish the mission. But while they're shaping you, you could be losing a piece of yourself. That's what happened to me. I started to lose a piece of myself at one point, and I had to figure out really quickly if I was going to stay in the military, how to overcome that. I had to start studying and researching and understanding the topic more before I went into any room because my voice kept getting stifled. They weren't hearing me at all. I had to stand and fight all the time. But once I became smarter on the topic, once I knew what they wanted to hear, then guess what? I was unstoppable. And that's why I sit here today in front of you as a commander in the U.S. Navy Reserves. I tell my mentees all the time, have that healthy balance. Know who you are. Have a great support system. Have your faith to lean on because you're going to need it to achieve anything in this world that's in the military or outside the military. So, yes, I'm a commander, but also the military had me to the point where I had to transition from active duty to the U.S. Navy Reserves in 2011. And guess what? That was the best decision I have ever made because now I sit here in front of you as the Chief of Acquisitions at the Department of Interior. And I'm also the CEO of Pick Your Sweet Poison. So if I could leave you with anything, ladies, I would like for you to know if you decide to wear the uniform of a sailor like me, or airman, or soldier, or you decide to become a devil dog, maybe you decide to join the U.S. Coast Guard, I want you to wear that uniform proudly. I want you to enter the military in every room with your shoulders back and your head high, because you are queens and you deserve a seat at any table. You can make it. If a little girl from Fort Pierce, Florida can make it, you can make it too. And know that any challenge or any storm that comes your way, you are already prepared for it. You're built for it. Just trust that you have the strength to make it through. Ladies, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you. Have a great day, ladies.
You can only truly become accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. A quote from the late great Maya Angelou. Hello, my name is Cassandra Hill, transformation agent for Black women. Sister, are you walking in your purpose? Today, as we celebrate Women's History Month, there is no better time than right now today to begin living and pursuing your passion. So we're going to have a dialogue. Yes, this is a dialogue because we're going to keep this conversation going on 4 tips, things you can do in finding your passion, your purpose, and knowing your walk. The first thing you can do is use the power of your mind and a pen. Find an hour you can spend time alone and in peace. Write at the top of the paper, my passion. Now, just write whatever comes to your mind. If you think to yourself, this is silly, then write, this is silly. Just put every thought you have down on paper. Listen to your gut. Your passion won't be the result of just a logical decision. It's the result of your intuition. You know deep down inside of you your purpose. It's just a matter of pulling back those layers. So use the power of your mind and write those thoughts out, whatever comes to mind. The next thing you're going to do is look to your past. What did you want to do when you were a child? Why didn't you follow through with it? Make a list of the things you enjoyed doing as a child. What did you dream about? What did you want to become and experience? Your passion might not be drastically different from your interests as a child. And I know for me, when I did this exercise, that's why I'm speaking to you today. I can remember being a child and I would make microphones because I loved speaking. And so I would walk around the house. Normally my audience was just my parents or people who would come by the visit. And I would speak, make these microphones and I would speak and never one realized it could be a career. But fast forward all these years later, I'm walking in my purpose. So just think back to your past. What did you love doing and you did it well? All right, this next one, the next thing in finding your passion, this is really, really important. There's no compromising on this. Know your values. Your passion will coincide with your values. Your passion is something from God, and He wouldn't put you in a compromising position. So make a list of your values and hold tight to them. Oftentimes we think we have to bend and compromise and do what everyone else is doing. But when you're walking in alignment, when you're walking in your purpose, things will just flow. Trust me, what's for you is for you, and you will not have to compromise your values and those principles that you hold near and dear to your heart. And finally, the fourth tip on finding your passion is to trust yourself. Sister, trust yourself. We live in a world where it's so easy to be consumed with information. And learning is great. There's lots of ways for us to learn, whether it's through audiobooks, podcasts, digital courses. That's all great. When it comes to making decisions that affect your professional and personal life, trust yourself. Not one person on this green earth knows you better than you, and ultimately it is your life. So don't put yourself in information overload where you rely so much on the experts that you start to doubt yourself. So this kind of goes back, ties into that first point, using the power of your mind, because honestly, it's within you. And it's just a matter of pulling back those layers, asking the right questions, and trusting yourself. I want us to pivot. I want us to think about something. Did you know an African elephant takes about 22 months to give birth? It's true. An African elephant takes about 22 months to give birth, and it's due to the ginormous size of the elephant and the time it takes for its brain to develop. So, sister, let me tell you, your passion is incredible. So be patient with yourself. It takes time to birth greatness. I know that there's a lot of gurus out there that's telling you, oh, you can do this in 60 days or 90 days, but it takes time to develop greatness. I would love to keep this conversation going. I would love to hear your thoughts. So let's stay connected. Go ahead, connect with me on my website at CassandraRhill.com, CassandraRhill.com. And when you opt in to receive emails from me, what you'll receive is best practices on how to level up as a businesswoman and taking care of your health and well-being as a boss. I want to wish everyone much health, much happiness. Until next time, stay blessed and have a wonderful Women's History Month, and know that this is your time to shine.
Hello. Thank you for joining me for Let's Zap the Gender Pay Gap. It is Women's History Month, and I am looking forward to showing you how to make history in a new way. My name is Gwendolyn Tucker. I am founder of Scale Your Pay Academy, as well as founder of Zap the Gender Pay Gap podcast series. Now, I have some good news and I have some bad news for you. The bad news is that there's an elephant in the room. The elephant's name, the gender pay gap. But the good news is that I'm going to shine a bright light on this elephant in the room, whose name is the gender pay gap, and shine a light so bright for all to see what some alarming facts about this elephant in the room. So the bad news on these 5 alarming facts that I will share, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dragnet, where Jack Webb stars as Sergeant Joe Friday, and he says, "Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts, ma'am. All we want are the facts." I'm going to be sharing some facts with you. Fact number 1 is that the female to male earnings ratio is 82%, which means that the gender pay gap is 18%. So what does that mean? It means on payday, on average, women get 82% for every dollar that men earn. Imagine opening up your candy bar expecting a full payday candy bar, and it's 82% instead of $1. Fact number 2 is that the female to male earnings ratio, it varies by age group. Even starting in college, there is a gender pay gap, and it gets worse as women mature and age in the workplace. Fact number 3, the female to male earnings ratio, it varies by race and ethnicity. So check this out. For Black and African American, the earnings ratio is 79%, which means that the gap is the difference of 21%. And then for Native and American and Pacific Islanders, it's actually worse at 71%, which means that the gap is 29%. Fact number 4 is that the female to male earnings ratio, it varies by state. So the state in which you reside can greatly affect your gender pay gap. Just check out this visual here where it shows by state the earnings ratio and how much women earn compared to every dollar that on average men earn. And from this, you can calculate the gender pay gap by state. Fact number 5 is that the female to male earnings ratio, it varies by occupation. Now, I'm an accountant by education and went on to earn my designation as a certified public accountant. So I was very intrigued to see how much the earnings ratio is by financial occupations. And I was appalled at what I saw. Now, I was an accountant as well as an auditor within paper manufacturing, and the earnings ratio is 78%. And so the difference is 22 cents. Can you imagine getting a 22% raise? What could that do to your budget? But also check this out for financial managers. It is 66.1%. The difference, almost 34%. Now, you don't have to be an accountant or CPA to know that these numbers are definitely not good. Now, I've shared some alarming facts and I got some more bad news for you. What's the impact? As I said earlier, on payday, a woman on average earns 82 cents for every dollar that men earn. That's definitely not good. Also, the National Committee on Pay Equity has identified Tuesday, March 14th of 2023 as Equal Pay Day. And it symbolizes how far women and minorities have to work into the year to receive equal pay, okay? That is definitely not good. That's 73 days into the year to earn equal pay compared to men. The bottom line, the gender pay gap affects a woman's financial security, not only now, but well into her future. Because guess what? Pay affects Social Security benefits as well as retirement benefits. And so you can see how this gender pay gap is affecting the wealth gap, both in the short term as well as in the long term. Now, I shared a lot of bad news with you, but I got some good news for you. Although you can't go back and change the beginning, you can start where you are and change the ending. And so the good news is that there is something that we can do about this. We can be history makers and change agents. So although we can't go back and change the beginning of what happened earlier in the year or earlier years, we can start right where we are and change the ending. Now, the good news is that we have the power and the ability to act, to take action. And to take a calculated risk, I say you work hard for your money, so you might as well take home all of it. It's well worth it. And I also say that going after your fortune requires three things. I call it F to the third power. First of all, you need faith. You need faith and know that not only is it worth it, but also that you're worth it. Also, fortitude. There's a sense of fearlessness and fierceness that you must possess to be able to go after that which is rightfully yours. And then thirdly, you need some facts. You need some evidence to prove your case. So you're going to need some confidence, some faith. You're going to need some fortitude, some courage, and also some facts where you can, with certainty, prove your case that this fortune is yours and it's due you. Now, I created ZAP, the Gender Pay Gap, to bring a spotlight on this elephant in the room and on this problem. But not only that, but also to show women how to zap their gender pay gap. And so you can find my podcast series at GwendolynJTucker.com. I would love for you to add it to your playlist. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as Google Podcasts. But I would love for you to check me out and check out what I share on ZAP, the Gender Pay Gap. I have also created an ebook to show women not only how to find out if they're caught in the gap, but also how to get out. My ebook, Underpaid, the number one challenge women face in the workplace, will show you how to locate, calculate, and negotiate to be able to close your gender pay gap. You can find that at GwendolynJTucker.com. I would love it if you would download the ebook and check it out in terms of how to not only find out if you're caught in the gender pay gap, but how to get out. Now, as I mentioned, this is Women's History Month, and it is time for us to zap the gender pay gap. I've created a lot of resources and tools to show women how to close their gender pay gap. And I would love for you to join me in zapping the gender pay gap in terms of being able to make history in 2023 so that we can take home all of what is due us and we can go after our fortune and take those calculated risks. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to talking with you in the future.
Trauma has stolen so much from me. It has stolen my voice, my identity, my mother, my father, my self-esteem, and it tried to steal my purpose. Yet, the story for me does not end there. Hi, my name is Shakita Torres, and I am a licensed therapist. I am a certified life coach, and I am the co-author of the #1 international bestseller, Just Say No, where I share my story about how I had to overcome people pleasing. I had to overcome trying to fit into the status quo and how I had to learn how to set healthy boundaries God's way. And so I want to really just share with you some of my journey and some of the things that I've had to learn in order for me to truly walk in my purpose and my assignment on today. In my household, growing up, boundaries was not a word. It was not discussed in my home. My home was full of chaos. It was full of physical abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence, alcoholism, and the list goes on. And so whenever I went off to college, I began to notice that I had very poor boundaries. But I struggled because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be loved. But most importantly, I loved people, and I still do. And I do not like to hurt anyone's feelings, even at the cost of me suffering in silence. So it wasn't until I began my journey of becoming a therapist and I began to provide counseling in roles where my boundaries were always challenged over and over and over again by specific populations. And I said to myself, wow, I have a problem. Okay. So I had to embark on this journey of self discovery, on this journey of learning how to set healthy boundaries, not only at work, but also with family, with friends, and the list goes on. So if you look on social media today, you hear the word boundary thrown to the left and thrown to the right, right? But people don't really share how difficult it can be to set boundaries. And for me, it was a huge challenge because I realized that me not having healthy boundaries was connected to my childhood trauma. And I had already gone to therapy. I had already began to heal from so many different things. But what happened was I still had residue. Residue is whenever you have overcame something, but there are still little things here and there that could be hindering you from getting where you want to be or going to where God has called you to be. And that was my story. I began to realize that me not having boundaries cost me a lot. It cost me my time, my peace of mind, my energy, and the list goes on. And so for me, the #1 thing I had to do was ask God questions. Why am I having a hard time setting boundaries? Where is this coming from? What is my thought process like when it comes to boundaries? Who in my circle is challenging me to step outside the box? Who in my circle is enabling me to remain a people pleaser? Because we can have people in our lives who have not grown either and who are seeking for validation, and they are benefiting from being in relationship with you for not having healthy boundaries. So that was my story, not having healthy boundaries. And so it took me time. It was a journey. And for me, as I began to set those boundaries and I began to learn how to be more assertive and not passive, I began to really understand my purpose. Because now, as an entrepreneur, I wear many, many hats now. I'm a therapist, I'm a life coach, I'm a nonprofit founder, I'm leading people, and I know that my plate is going to increase. And so, with that being said, I had to learn how to communicate effectively and be able to do it in such a way where it inspired people, it encouraged people, and be able to set healthy boundaries. But you cannot do that if you do not have the skill set for you to be able to start right where you are with setting healthy boundaries. And so today I want to share with you 3 ways to help you to set healthy boundaries. Number one, I statements. I love I statements. When you say things like, I feel XYZ, whenever you do XYZ, it takes the focus off the person and onto you. And if that person loves you and they see that what they're doing is causing you to feel a certain way, they will understand, they will support you, they will even apologize to you, right? Number 2, figuring out your communication style. How do you process information? Do you need time to think about something? Don't always say yes right away. Just say, hey, I'll get back to you. Look at the situation, evaluate it, look at your calendar, try to figure out, hey, I have time here or I have time there, right? And then you can respond to them accordingly. Okay. Number 3, have accountability. Accountability is so important whenever you're trying to set healthy boundaries. So for me, I had accountability. I had my spouse, I had a friendship, and most importantly, I had the Holy Spirit. I had God walking me every step of the way and trying to increase my voice, speak up. Okay. And so now I'm an advocate for many because I can speak up now. And so my question to you today is, what is not having healthy boundaries costing you? Is it costing you your career? Is it costing you relationships with other people? Is it costing you time? What is it costing you? Because your voice matters. What you have to say matters. Your needs matters. Your pain even matters. This is why it's so important for you to heal on purpose. And so for Women's History Month, I want you to understand that there is place for you, that there is purpose for you. You do not have to be tucked away in a corner, not saying and doing the things that you're called to do. If you need help, seek it out. If you need support, seek it out. There's no shame in asking for help and support in that particular area. So my name is Shakita. Thanks so much for being here. I hope that my speech has blessed you today. And if you can follow me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and Facebook at Shakita Torres, or you can visit my website, www.shakitatorres.com. And I also have a guide called 10 Ways to Set Healthy Boundaries, God's Way for Christian Leaders. So go to my site, www.empoweredpurposeacademy.com, and you'll be able to download that guide there. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Hey, friend. I am Dr. Patrice Buckner Jackson, but you can call me PBJ. I am the founder and lead facilitator for Educare Training and Consulting LLC, where we are giving leaders the tools to beat burnout so you can love your career again. Friend, listen, I'm a 25-year educator. I've been an executive coach for over 10 years. There's really not a professional goal that I set for myself that I did not meet, and it almost cost me everything. I'm talking to my accomplished women. I'm talking to educators who give their everything for their students and for their schools and their staff. I'm talking about people who pour their hearts out for everybody else and have nothing left for themselves. I know you, friend, because you are me. I'll never forget August 2019, I had finally gotten to the level of vice president where all my mentors told me I would get one day. And after 20 years, here I was with the parking spot with my name on it in the corner office and all of the departments reporting to me within that division. I will never forget that August morning driving to work with tears in my eyes. I could barely see for the tears. When I finally got to that fancy parking spot, I had to get my face together and add more makeup so people couldn't see what I was going through. I walked into that student center, smiling, hugging, greeting everybody just like normal. And it was all I could do to get behind the door of that nice corner office. And I crumbled. I remember holding on to the edge of that wooden desk because I didn't feel like I could hold my own weight up anymore. What I really wanted to do was crawl under that desk in the fetal position and lay there. But I was so afraid that somebody would find me there. I felt trapped. I wanted to get out. I wanted to open that door and run back to my car and just leave. But I knew if I opened that door, there would be a student there who needed me, a staff member with a question, or a colleague who needed to have a conversation. I have taught everybody in my life that I could be all things to all people, and they believed me. And I had nothing left. When I finally got myself together enough to use words, I called my husband, Edward, and I said, I can't do this. I don't know what's wrong with me. I was trying to explain to him. And I remember he interrupted me. He said, go home. I'll meet you there. Well, if you are an educator, you know what time it is. It was August. So my students were moving in. Parents were anxious. We were dealing with all the challenges of beginning a new semester. I couldn't go home. I had a whole staff of people who were depending on me. I could not leave. And he interrupted me again. He said, go home. I will meet you there. And that time I heard him. I hung up that phone. I typed a letter. I went to where my president was in a meeting. And when they opened the door at the end of that meeting, I handed them the letter and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I left that campus, and to this day, I haven't stepped foot back on that campus. I went home. Not because I had my resume out, not because my phone was ringing off the hook. I went home because I was broken. And I was home for 5 months. I wouldn't recommend it, friend. 5 months. I went from a 6-figure salary to nothing for 5 months. And at first I was angry. I was so angry. I was angry because I thought the way that I work, the way that I show up, how I serve, nobody saw me. Nobody. Of everything that I give out, nobody saw me struggling. Nobody saw me falling apart. I was angry. But I couldn't stay angry long because I had to realize that I was the common denominator. It wasn't the first time that I had felt that way. It was just the worst. I had felt burnt out. I had experienced burnout in different spaces with different people, different institutions, different students. I was the common denominator. So I had to learn how to be who I was created to be, how to pour my heart out and serve others without paying these kinds of consequences. Because at that moment, my body, my mind, my spirit, my relationships, they were all in jeopardy. Everything that meant the most to me was hanging by a thread, and I almost lost it all. So I'm here to share with you what I learned. First of all, you got to check your baggage. That's the first strategy. You have to check your baggage. Every one of us has an invisible backpack. You have it on today. You may not realize it, but you have it on. And everything you have learned, informally or formally, is in that backpack. Every experience you've had, everything culture has taught you, everything you learn from family members, everything you learn through work, Every trauma that you've had is in that backpack. And that backpack determines how we engage with the world, how we interact with other people, how we show up in work and in life, friend. And I'm here to tell you that your burnout, your job may create an atmosphere where it's easy to be burnt out. But if you look around you, not everybody is. There's something in your backpack that defines how you show up. And until you're willing to open it up and look around and realize what's there that you need to deal with, you will find yourself continually on this spiral of burnout. One of the things I found in my backpack is I have a need to be needed. I told myself things like, if nobody shows up, or if I don't show up, nobody will. If I don't serve my students, nobody will. If I don't go to everything, nobody will. But the truth of the matter is, now watch this, friend. When I walked away because of burnout, do you know the school didn't close? Hold on, you didn't hear me. Wait a minute. I was gone. I was not there. And the school continued to run. Students continued to go to class. They had the nerve to graduate and start careers without me being there. Now, I say that in jest now, but back then I meant it. I believed that I was the only one. I had the savior complex that was not healthy for me. That was a story I was telling myself. What have you told yourself? What has life taught you? What are you carrying around in your backpack that is keeping you in the cycle of burnout? The second strategy you need is to build your boundaries. Friend, not some weak boundary that you heard on social media and wrote in your cute journal. I'm talking about protecting what means most to you. Boundaries are not a fad. They are safety. They keep you safe, and they only matter if they're connected to what means most to you. What are you unwilling to lose? And what are you willing to do about it? What are you unwilling to lose? And what are you willing to do about it? That's where you build your boundaries. And the third thing you have to do is discover your brilliance, your secret sauce, your purpose, your innate, unique value that you bring to the world like nobody else. Friend, this is the thing that changes everything. When you know what your brilliance is, when you know you're brilliant, and you know what that brilliance is, you have a gift. You have one thing that you do. You may do it in a number of ways. You may express it in a number of ways, but you have one thing that you do. And when you identify your one thing, and when you know what it is, you show up with confidence. You show up with boldness. You know where your no is and where your yes is. Because if it doesn't align with that brilliance, the answer is no. Not because you don't love people, but because you're not the right one. But when it is in alignment with that brilliance, the answer is yes, friend. You have to discover your brilliance. You can't expect somebody else to value you if you don't know your own value. So I believe that we can be the women that we were created to be, the educators that we were created to be, that we can pour out and have massive impact without having the consequences of burnout. If we'll check our baggage, if we will build our boundaries, and if we will discover our brilliance. Listen, friend, if you know you need more of this, I want to give you a free resource. If you will go to this website or scan this code, then you can get my ebook and video on the myth of balanced time. This is a great place to start, and it's practical things that you can do to disrupt burnout. I'm PBJ, and I'm so glad that you are disrupting the cycles of burnout.
Greetings and blessed and highly favored ones. I am so glad you're here. Now, I know that statement could be very perplexing and weighty just because you probably don't feel like you're blessed or highly favored. But How about Mary? Let's take her for instance. No, not Mary J. Blige, but Mary, who had to give birth to her gift out in a barn, who experienced homelessness. She received that same revelation when she stood there young, single, and pregnant. But 10 toes down, she persevered. And she still had to watch her gift be abused, mocked, and beaten. How many of us have gifts and talents that we seem to be overlooked, or we are being abused because we're being taken advantage of? But she still persevered. Not only did her gift impact so many other people's lives, but it also impacted hers as well. That's my version. Who am I? Well, my name is Kimberly T. Mitchell. I am a certified public speaking coach. I am an author. I am also a TEDx public speaking coach. I was born and raised in a beautiful household with 2 loving parents, a mom, a dad, an older brother. We went on family vacations whenever we just had the urge to get out. We sat down for Sunday meals or just meals throughout the week. We went to church every Sunday. But that didn't stop life from happening. That middle piece where I just overlooked, I told you the story about then and now. But it was that place in the middle that I always tell my speakers, do not overlook it. Because I know that place where it feels like it's pain, but that's where your power comes from. That's where your power comes from. And that's what makes the story juicy and pop. You see, I was a single mother of 2. I was on public assistance. I worked at a pharmacy for $7 an hour. I had the opportunity to go to school. And when I went to social services, my caseworker told me no, because it cost too much. Now, I checked off every single box. I was a single mother on welfare, and I was getting public assistance. I was hurt, but I was very determined not to let that stop me. I went home, I got on the phone, and I called his supervisor. His supervisor said to quit your job on Friday and come back in on Monday and reapply. And I did just that. But when I got there, he had something else to say. He said, people are not going to like that you go over their heads. Well, that may be true, but I'm here to tell you that people might not like that you go over their heads, but they have 2 choices. They have 2 choices. They could either step to the side or they could duck, but you will go after what is placed inside of you, because that baby, that gift that's in you cannot keep still, and it will not keep still. I went on to graduate, and in the car, it was my mom, my dad, my 2 children in the back. We was headed up to the campus. It was a bright, beautiful, sunny day. And everybody was standing around taking pictures, fixing clothes and bow ties. And my mom broke my trance because I was just staring off, looking at the sharpshooter at the top, because he was just waiting for somebody to step out of line, or she. But I'm glad nobody did, because it was a beautiful day. She told me, Kim, when we park the car, we're going to find some place to sit, and you go find your class. And I did. But what I found was ladies huddled in the corner, worried, whispering, will they find out? We wanted to know, will they find out? Will there be a big sign out there, where it says doctors or lawyers or bachelor's and master's degree? Will it say public assistant? Will our degree say property of social services? The administrator walked over and said, ladies, y'all have to line up. They playing your song, but we was too frozen in fear. We felt like we wasn't enough, that we did not belong there. So we asked her, will it be on our degree? She said, absolutely not. They won't know unless you tell them. Who knew? That'll be a part of my story. We went out, head held high, and received our degree. But what I want to tell you is that was my first time experiencing imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is when you doubt your God-given talents and gifts. There are 5 types. There's the perfectionist, there's the expert, the natural genius, the soloist, and the superwoman. Each one of them feel like they are a fraud, that if they ask for help, that it's a sign of weakness. How many of y'all may have felt that way? But don't worry, because you're not alone. Did you know that Dr. Maya Angelou and Michelle Obama both felt that way? Michelle Obama felt, well, why should anybody listen to her? And Dr. Maya Angelou felt, oh yeah, they're going to find out now that I've been running a game on them. Not only did I experience imposter syndrome, I also experienced a thing called cognitive dissonance. Now, one of my favorite speakers said that if you are a creator, you're no doubt going to experience cognitive dissonance. But I'm going to take it a step further and say that if you're a woman with purpose, a woman with a gift and a talent, a woman who's just persistent in pursuing what God has given her, you are no doubt going to have cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you place yourself in a state of discomfort by thinking of yourself in a way that doesn't match your current circumstances. You will begin to call and do the things that will ultimately match your mental conversation rather than your current situation. Isn't that something? So there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just a battle going on inside. Who are you going to listen to in this moment? And with that said, let me just let you know that the vehicle that drives you to your destination does not define you. It just shows how strategic God is about placing a gift that He put inside of you. You are a divine design, one of a kind original, sis. You are an unrepeatable miracle. So I just want to come out here and just congratulate you and thank you for being you. Thank you for showing up. Now, for me, how I help others and my speakers, I normally give out affirmations, do daily affirmations and positive motivational messages on my Instagram page. And if you want to follow me, you could go to kimtspeaks.org or at kimtspeaks on Instagram. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Hello, I'm Shailah Edmonds, former international runway model and author of my memoir, Wild Child to Couture Style. So, you want to get into the modeling business, the ever so glamorous modeling business. Well, I'm here to tell you about the pitfalls of modeling. First of all, you have to have a thick skin to get into this business because there's a lot of rejection From the time you send your pictures in to agents, you'll be rejected by so many agents before you find the right one to represent you. Once you find an agent and they send you out to designers or clients, you'll be rejected by them as well. If you don't fit the clothes right, the designer will not hire you. If you're not the right look for the product, the client will not hire you for that photo shoot. And the biggest rejection of all is when you go for a commercial or a high-paying campaign for $10,000 or more, and you'll get residuals, and they put you on what's called a first refusal, and you don't get the job in the end. They go with someone else. Oh my gosh, that is devastating. So, as I said, you have to have a thick skin in this business and just be secure and know that the phone will ring again and there's always something better around the corner, and just keep moving forward and don't dwell on that negative rejection. Easier said than done, but it's something that you really have to do in this business. The second part is I was a model coach once my modeling career started fading. And I was teaching models how to get into the business, and so many models came to me that were not the right proportion to be a model. So study this craft and know that, if your measurements are not right, say for instance for the runway these days, you have to be, for the women, you have to be 34, 24, 34. You have to have those statistics. Those dresses and the clothing are size 0 to 2. So you have to pretty much be in that range. And if you're not that, and at least 5'10" or more, you don't have the qualifications to be a model. And please don't think that you'll lose the weight or you'll grow or you'll try to change. I tell you, because I've seen that most models that are successful are kind of born with this body and with this structure to be a model. So don't force yourself or go on these binge diets and try to make yourself into this model, because you either have the bone structure and you're built this way or you don't. It's a gift like everything else. If you're a musician, you have the gift of a voice. If you're a ballet dancer, you have the gift to move. So modeling is also a gift, and most times you were born with it. And speaking of diet, please, you watch your diet. Don't go on these binge diets. I've seen so many models that are anorexic and just too thin where they don't look healthy. Again, your exercise diet is really, really important. You can't eat the junk in the McDonald's and all this fast food that puts weight on you. Really watch your diet. Very, very important. And if you maintain it, you will not have the struggle with your weight going up and down. Also, modeling is a full-time job. It's not financially, but you have to constantly take care of yourself. Your hygiene has to be great. And most important, your skin has to be great. I've seen models come to me with acne and spots on their faces, and your face is what sells you. So you have to have a good skin regimen before you even think of being seen by an agent, or especially being successful in this business. So clean your skin, have a good skin regimen every night. Don't sleep in your makeup, and don't think your skin is going to take care of itself, because it doesn't. So do your mask and scrubbing and whatever you have to do, but take care of your skin. And your hair, you'll study your craft and you'll see that these models on the runway, they don't have the big weaves and the wigs. They have their natural hair either pulled back or in an afro or something natural. And they don't have these long dragon nails, pointy nails like the people in the rap business have and all the celebrities have. That doesn't work in the modeling business. So study your craft. Look at those models on the runway and see what their hair is like. See what their nails are like. Look closely at their skin and know what you're getting into. Modeling is a very inconsistent business. Don't think you're going to work every day. When I was a model, there were a lot more designers and a lot fewer models, so I was able to make a living as a model. But today, there are a lot fewer designers and a lot more beautiful people who are qualified to be in this business, so competition is thicker than ever. So be prepared for it. Stand your ground, do your best, and hang in there with the best of them, and know that you have what it takes to make it. And when you do make it to the top, enjoy the ride, baby, because when you're at the top, it doesn't last forever. Like any aspect of show business, you're only at the top for a season, for a certain time. There's always a certain new type of model that comes around, or the industry changes and the look changes, or you've just aged out of your category. So enjoy it while you can, and most important, please have a plan B. That was my downfall. I didn't have a plan B, but I was able to expound on my experience, and I did an instructional video and started to teach modeling. But have a plan B. You can be a stylist, a makeup artist, or get into the bridal or swimsuit industry that's more flexible with your size. There's always another aspect of the modeling business that you can get into, but just know when your time is up. The saddest thing I can see is a model who knows they're past their prime and they're still trying to be a model. And it's not a pretty picture. So age and get out of the business gracefully when it's your time, and enjoy the plan B. I do hope everyone who is pursuing a modeling career, I just hope you are successful. And after hearing these pitfalls, you will be more prepared and enjoy the ride even more. Good luck.
Hello, my name is BreYanna Mitriece. And do you remember as a child when they used to tell you that you needed to be seen but not heard? Well, I'm here to tell you that you are to be seen and be heard. It is your birthright to take up space and to use your voice to advocate for yourself. I remember when I was about 15 years old and I was hanging out with an acquaintance and her mom. And at 15 years old, she wanted to dim my light. Essentially, she didn't want me to be seen. She didn't want me to have confidence in myself. Somehow, because I was confident, that struck something in her, and she tried to dim my light. But even at 15 years old, I was determined to be seen because I knew who I was. Maya Angelou reminds us that our crown has been bought and paid for, so we must put it on our head and wear it. And yours have been bought and paid for, so go ahead and put it on your head and wear it. We have been called to be seen. Matthew 5:16 in the Bible reminds us that we are a light, to let our light so shine before men that they may see our great works and glorify our Father which is in heaven. So we are meant to shine. You are meant to be a light. So stop standing in the back. Stop operating from a place of fear. Stop being afraid to let people see who you are and what you are called to do. There is always enough room for you when you are standing in your purpose. Don't worry about who's doing what you're doing. Don't worry about how many people are even in your field. Take your rightful place on your spot and let your light so shine so that you can be seen. You have the right to show up. You have the right to take up space. So let your authenticity flow. Show people who you are and what you're made of. No more standing in the back. No more discounting yourself. No more walking in fear. Martin Luther King says faith is taking the first step even when you cannot see the whole staircase. So take that first step of faith and keep reminding yourself that I'm a light. I am meant to be seen, because when people see me, they begin to see my good works and they give God the glory. So I cannot stand in the back. I cannot dim my light. I have to shine bright. I have to be seen, because I have a purpose, and there are people waiting for what I have to say, waiting for me to show up, waiting for me to take my rightful place. So I want you to write down on your paper, be seen. It is my birthright to show up, for people to know who I am, for me to shake hands with certain people, for me to be in the room. I'm going to be seen, because there are people who are waiting for me. And sometimes when we are journeying towards our purpose, sometimes we can psych ourselves out and disqualify our own selves, because we're like, well, somebody else is doing it, or I don't do it like they do it, or I'd rather just be in the back. No. Let's move on to the front. Take your place in the front where you're supposed to be, and let your light shine bright. It is your right. Your crown has already been bought and paid for, so wear it. Be confident in who you are. Walk like you know it. Talk like you know it. Keep your head high. Walk in that confidence and know that what you are called for is to do great things. So don't discount yourself and try to dim your light, or let other people dim your light, like my friend's mom tried to do to me at 15 years old. Don't let anybody try to dim your light, and you don't dim your own light. Turn it on. Ignite the fire within. Go forth and do what you need to do, because again, you are meant to be seen. There's somebody waiting for you to share your story, waiting for you to tell them how you've overcame, waiting for you to show them what's possible, waiting to hear a word from you. And then you got to be heard. Use your voice to be your biggest advocate. A lot of people don't like when we speak up for ourselves. They rather us be silent. They rather us not say anything. That's why back then they rather you just be seen, because they didn't want to hear what you had to say, your contributions. But I want you to use your voice to stand up for yourself, to be your biggest advocate. I remember I was working at a job that discriminated against me, gender discriminated against me. I was going up for a position, and there were other men going up for that same position. And they called me into the office and they said, you didn't get the position. There were people who were more qualified than you, who we offered the position to. So when they finally had the meeting where they announced who the candidates were, I noticed that some of the men were not more qualified than I was for that position. Now, there were other people who went up and got who applied for the position and didn't get it, and they're cool with it. But me, I'm going to use my voice. My mama always taught me to handle my business and not to let anybody mistreat me or take advantage of me or discriminate against me. And so I wrote a letter to HR letting them know what had happened, that they gave a position to a male who was underqualified over me, a woman who was more qualified. And I corresponded back and forth with them, and they were trying to come back and say I was wrong, and but I stood my ground. I used my voice. I kept fighting for myself. And then they finally had to come back and say, well, there's 2 more positions we want to offer. There's 2 more positions we're going to open up. We want to offer one of those positions to you, because they knew what they did was wrong. And because I used my voice, I not only fought for myself, but that second position was for another woman who they turned away because they wanted men in those positions. This is why we have our voices, so that we can advocate for ourselves, so we can speak and open our mouths in the face of injustice and discrimination. so that people can know that, no, you can't just do whatever you want to do to me. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to take a stand. So I know there are some people who, through your life, people have made you feel like your voice didn't matter. They try to silence you. They try to make you feel like what you had to say was not important. And I apologize for that. And I am so sorry you were made to feel like you didn't matter, or what you had to say didn't matter. So for years, you didn't open your voice. You didn't stand up for yourself in your relationships. You didn't stand up for yourself at your job. And you never took a stand for yourself or advocate for yourself because you didn't think your voice mattered. Well, it does. Use your voice. Let your voice be heard, especially when you're advocating for yourself. And sometimes your voice is also an advocate for other people who may not have the voice to speak up for themselves, like children or women who are disenfranchised or other groups of people. Your voice is powerful. It is your superpower, because that is how we ignite change in the world, when we're able to take a stand for ourselves. So today is the day, and I give you permission to be seen and to be heard. You don't have to stand in the back, and you don't have to be silent. Take your rightful place. Let people know who you are. Show up and show out. It's time. It's time for you to be seen and heard. There's people waiting for you. And if you would love to know more about me, you can visit my website at BreYannaMitriece.com. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kirsten Allen, and I'm the owner and founder of the K. Allen Agency. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about how to supercharge your business growth on LinkedIn. So I'm a LinkedIn and B2B strategist. I help entrepreneurs and salespeople and corporate professionals really leverage LinkedIn to reach their ultimate goals, whether that's to get the next sale or get their next job opportunity. LinkedIn is my space, and I'm so excited to be here talking to you today about how you can really leverage LinkedIn to supercharge your business growth. So why LinkedIn? Why are we even talking about this, right? Most of us, especially as entrepreneurs, left LinkedIn with our past corporate careers. However, LinkedIn has a unique opportunity to help entrepreneurs be able to grow their business. And I want to give you a few facts, not to bore you, but just to let you know how important this platform is to growing your business. Number one, in the pandemic, LinkedIn saw the most amount of growth that it's ever seen in the years that it's been out in the marketplace. They saw over 55% growth of people having conversations, being able to network and connect, starting all online on LinkedIn. Another piece of this is the only social media platform that's created for business, right? So where we go to some of our other platforms to be able to utilize and connect with our clients, LinkedIn is really the only one to do business on. So when you're thinking about going after corporate contracts or going after larger opportunities that require you to connect with decision makers, LinkedIn is going to be the place to do it. All right, so now we know why. Now I want to bust a few myths for you, because a lot of times when I talk to people, what I hear is LinkedIn is boring, it's stuffy, it's too corporate-y. You know, I left that in my past career. I've been on for 20 years, but I have no way or no understanding of how to use it today. I want to let you know that number one, LinkedIn is not stuffy, it's profitable. It allows you to get in front of decision makers that you probably never would have met outside of the platform. So it opens the doors, the gatekeepers are removed, and the opportunities are there for you. So whether you're a speaker, a consultant, or a coach, these are opportunities where you can start making connections with the folks who have what I call the big money. So if you're down for the big money and you're down to get past maybe some of the apprehension you have for LinkedIn and really see the opportunity, this is going to be the presentation for you. So before I move any further, I need two commitments for you. Very simple, nothing too crazy. Number one, I want to make sure that you walk into this open-minded. So I just told you some things I've already gotten in front of, probably what you're thinking or feeling as you're watching this presentation about LinkedIn, right? But I want you to now come into this space open-minded, ready to learn, ready to see how you can really leverage this platform to grow your business. And then the second commitment is that whatever you learn and take away from this presentation today, you're going to take action. You're actually going to put these things into practice and let me know what your results are. So if you're in for that, keep going on because we're going to get into it. All right, so I have a 3-step framework for supercharging your sales with LinkedIn as an entrepreneur, and I use it in different platforms and ways as well. So I'm going to share it with you at a high level. We can't get into everything today, but this will at least get you started in understanding how to really leverage this platform. So first part of the framework is to optimize your profile. This piece is important. It's your foundation. As you are going out and reaching people on LinkedIn, they're going to go and check out your profile and see who is this guy or girl, right? They want to know more about who you are. So your profile is the place for your personal brand. One of the main mistakes that I see with LinkedIn is that people use it as a regurgitation of their resume. That is a big no-no. Use it as an opportunity to showcase your personal brand. Who are you outside of the titles that you may have on your resume? So some tips here are going to be to focus on adding new information in each section of your profile. I have like a 5-point checklist that I go through for profile specifically, but we don't have time to get into that. But I want you to think about how you can use each layer from your headline to your recommendations to share more information with who you are and let that next person know that they need to hire you. So utilizing what I call a power statement in your headline, not just regurgitating you're a public speaker, you're a coach, whatever it is, but talking about what is that transformation that you do for your clients. Check out my headline for a good example of how to do this. All right. And also in your profile, leverage CTAs. Make sure your website link is there. Most people don't have that, right? So making sure you have that. And as you go to different layers of your profile, call out your freebies, call out ways to book a call with you. Have those in every section of your profile possible so people know how to reach you. All right, so second piece of the framework is to create engaging content. So this is so important and another key piece that people are going to be looking at. So as you're going out and building content on LinkedIn, I want you to think about 2 pieces of content that you can create. Number 1, inspirational stories. Remember how I said, tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us what's important to you. Show us your family. Talk to us about volunteer things that you have going on, or even share a funny story, right? People say the platform is boring and stuffy, but it gets lively when we get on and share our stories. So think about how you can infuse that. Second piece is share your perspectives. LinkedIn is all about thought leadership. So tell us what you think that challenges the norms that are typically heard in your industry. How can you stand out and truly be a thought leader in your space by sharing your perspective? So use your platform as an opportunity to do that. All right. And then the last piece of this framework is going to be to generate leads. So in terms of generating leads, you want to make sure that you form intentional connections on the platform. Use the software to be able to track potential leads, follow up with them, make sure that they see your messages and engage with them off of the platform as well to really drive home this point of getting in the door through LinkedIn, but driving the conversation off of LinkedIn. And then a pro tip is that the search feature is gold. So as you're getting on LinkedIn and you're looking for folks to connect with, utilize search to really call out those specific people that you want to connect with. So if that is in the tech industry, if that is coaches, consultants, whoever that is, utilize the search feature in what I call, or what is known as Boolean search. You can look that up and see how that works. Use that inside of the LinkedIn platform so you can be able to get a list of folks that fall specifically into your ideal decision maker bucket. So that feature is gold and you want to make sure that you don't miss out on that. So those are my 3 high-level pieces of my framework to help you get activated on LinkedIn. Now, I mentioned I couldn't share everything in this video, but I do have a gift for you, especially for you since you stayed here to the end. I want you to go to our website, which is thekallenagency.com/gift, and you can download our quick LinkedIn quick start checklist. So this will help you go through everything I said along with additional information to make sure you get jump started on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions or your thoughts around LinkedIn, any feedback that you may have heard from this presentation today, I definitely invite you to contact us on the website or either follow me on LinkedIn. One thing I would love to see is that as you go through this presentation and you're implementing, because you're going back to commitment number 2, is send me a DM on LinkedIn and let me know which piece of this really resonated with you and what you're excited to try on your LinkedIn profile. All right, so I look forward to hearing from you, and I'm so glad that you got a chance to check out this presentation. Thanks so much, and best of luck on your LinkedIn journey. Talk soon.
Breaking the Cycle, a journey to cure generational wealth curses. This 10-year-old little girl was me. I am a summer baby, and I, more than anything in the world, wanted to have a luau party for my 10th birthday. I wanted the grass skirts, the coconut bras, hunty. I wanted the palm trees on the doors. And when I went to ask my mother for such a party, she let me know and quickly reminded me that money does not grow on trees, and we didn't have enough money for all of that. Little did she know, she was creating in me a sense of I had to work really hard for anything and everything that I desired, as well as I wasn't worthy or deserving of the things that I wanted in my life. This ended up leading me to debilitating debt and eventually filing bankruptcy. You may be that very person passing down your negative thoughts and feelings to an unknowing and impressionable person around you. You, at some point in your life, were that impressionable little kid, receiving and being in receptive mode of the information from those around you and all of their negative thoughts and feelings about money. I'm here for us to change all of that. Today, you will learn what a generational wealth curse is, how to identify your own generational wealth curse. You are going to get the steps to clearing your generational wealth curse. You are going to be able to learn the power of your thoughts and feelings. You're going to walk away with tips and tricks on shifting these thoughts quickly, and you will, at the end, have an opportunity to cure your very own generational wealth curses. So who am I? Who am I to deliver this information? Hello, my name is Jacquelyn McDaniel Vasquez, Coach Jackie, if you will. I'm a money mindset coach, a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, and a hypnosis practitioner, an emotional freedom technique practitioner, an author, baby, and a transformational speaker. I guide female entrepreneurs to clearing their money blocks so they can attract the money and success that they deserve. I combine my love for psychology with all of my techniques that you learn here so I can truly provide transformation so people can change their mind, change their life. A generational wealth curse. What the heck is that thing? It is something that has been passed down to you from people that came before you. It is thoughts and feelings, most of the time negative, around money that have been given to you that you don't necessarily actually, let's be honest, you don't have to believe anymore. I just want you to imagine for a moment, if you will, moving through life, and all of a sudden you start to think, who am I to do this? Why is this happening to me? The fears set in, and you no longer feel powerful. You no longer take action, and you watch your business and your life suffer because of it. There is something blocking you. If you believe you are not enough, if you have any guilt or pressure around going after your dreams, you are blocking the good and the joy from coming to you. Let's take a look at some of the phrases that we've heard just in general as human beings when it comes to money. Money is sense of filthy rich. I'm broke. Dirty money, money laundering. Let's just look at root of all evil. Or how about to have no money is good, righteous, virtuous, Christ-like even. These thoughts and feelings translate into our blocks. And our blocks look a lot like how, especially as a business owner, how is this going to happen for me? How? I need to know how, because I need to see the results before I can commit to the actions. What about this? Other people deserve the money more than me. Or money is the root of all evil. Or I don't come from a rich family. Or something is always coming up. These thoughts and feelings come from societal pressures, they come from family pressures, and they just come from other people and their fears and overwhelms when it comes to money. But it no longer has to be your truth. Truthfully, these thoughts equal your behaviors. When you receive the information in, you get it in through your sight, smell, taste, our 5 senses. You take the information, you either delete it, distort it, or you generalize it based upon what everybody else has been saying. And these filters, if you will, based upon your location, your mood, your memories, your decisions, your beliefs, your values, your identities, these filters is what this information, the information that you receive, means to you. What ends up happening is these filters translate into your behaviors, and your behaviors translate into your results. If you're running around saying money is the root of all evil, you are not showing up in the way where you believe that money is a good thing flowing to you. So you're not showing up in your business. Your results are no money. When you identify the curse, change happens at the unconscious and the subconscious level. As you think of things that may be blocking you, observe the thought. It doesn't have to be yours, because let's be real. You get 60,000 thoughts a day, 95% of them are on repeat. Same thoughts equal same actions. So observe the thought like a cloud in the sky. Let it float by. Don't make it your own. The moment that you see the curse, it is important for you to say, where did this stem from? Where did this come from? Ask yourself, is it ultimately true? Whoever gave you the thought, they gave it to you based upon their fear and their worry and their overwhelm. Is it ultimately true? Is it ultimately true? Money is the root of all evil? No. Money has allowed me to do so many great things. It allows me to keep the lights on in my house. It allows me to keep my kids fed. It allows me to take vacations. It allows me to get my hair and my nails done. Money is not evil. It is energy. It is a resource, and is allowing me to do the things that I love to do. So, where did this come from? You make a forgiveness list based upon Ho'oponopono. And it is a beautiful forgiveness list. I forgive you. I'm sorry. I thank you. I love you. And you make a list of all the people you need to forgive, the people who have given you this information that is false and is wrong, and you forgive them, because you're about to change the trajectory of your future by telling the new story. The new story is what is new. Like I said, money is not the root of all evil. It is something that has provided me with a way to be able to provide for my kids, to be able to live the life I want to live, to give me the freedom that I deserve, because I am who I am, and that's what makes me deserving. Your thoughts and feelings are powerful, for as you imagine and visualize and verbalize the new story in time and believe it, it will be yours. And you will start to experience the new story, because we can create anything that we imagine. Our brain is a broadcasting signal, and it is receiving this information as well as sending it out. And so the more that you are giving yourself the good thoughts and feelings, the more that you are going to attract the money and the wealth that you deserve. But you got to get past the feeling that you are not deserving. Some tips and tricks: affirmations, meditations, journaling. Affirmations are a way of auto-suggestion. It just reminds your brain what you really truly believe. Meditations is a moment of quieting the brain, quieting the mind, so you stop the resistant thought and you only think about the things that you want. You stop thinking about what grandma told you, money doesn't grow on trees, and you start remembering that you are the energetic field to attract it. What you write, you invite. Journal it out. Talk about what you want. Put it into the air. What you write, you will bring more into your life. And speaking about an invitation, I would like to invite you to train your brain to make more money. This itself is a free training that will allow you to learn how to train your brain to make more money. The moment that you do so is the moment that you attract more right into your life. Get this free workbook. It comes with an instructional video, and it will do nothing but elevate your life further. I would like to take the time to thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for giving yourself the opportunity to clear your very own money blocks. There is a path to abundance, and honey, it is your birthright. So all you got to do is stop the limiting beliefs, stop the feelings that are no longer serving you, and fill your life up with beautiful thoughts and feelings that are only going to elevate you further and higher. You are in control, and the money that you desire truly is your birthright. Thank you, and I hope this was helpful. Follow me at the Pursuit to Happy on Instagram and TikTok.
Wow. I don't know about you, but that was just a taste, an appetizer of all the knowledge, information, experience, and expertise that so many women are carrying who are currently making history, who have also made history in the past. Now, again, if you got a nugget, if there was a certain speaker that really put some fire in your soul and in your belly, comment in the chat box. We really want to know what your nuggets were and what your aha moments were. Now, as this series is coming to the close, we really want to encourage you, Speak Black Women community, as well as the Black Speakers Network community, to watch the entire series on YouTube that will be airing throughout the month of March. Because guess what? It's still Women's History Month. If you missed any of the series, you can go ahead and go back and view for your viewing consideration by visiting the link below and watch any of the series that you may have missed. I want to personally thank you for tuning in. I want to personally thank you for not only watching, absorbing, and taking notes on some of the awesome and amazing women speakers who are out here making history, but I also want to encourage you to stay connected to the Black Speakers Network. Again, if you missed any of the series, click the link below and get instant access. But more importantly, stay connected, because guess what? When you speak up, your audience will await.